Good morning. What are the 4 C's to successfully selling antiques and art at auction? I'm Jason Roski, owner of the KC Auction and Appraisal Company here in Kansas City, Missouri. And this week we're going to be talking about what we have found over years of experience to be some of the 4 main factors in determining what something is worth. And we kind of came up with this 4 C's of selling art and antiques at auction. And we're excited to share that here today with you. If you have any questions, please post them on the bottom. If you have any comments or thoughts or concerns, post a question here. We'll be happy to get to those as we have a chance. Let me go ahead and share this on my wall. C's of selling art and antiques at auction. Don't want to do that. Share. What is going on? Post. All right. So what are some of the factors that we see? Last year, we sold 4,300 lots, somewhere between 15 and 20,000 items. Over the last 10 years, we've sold tens of thousands of items, probably over 100,000 items, honestly, in that time frame. And so what are we noticing when we look at the numbers, when we look at what is selling well, what is bringing the most interest and most activity in the auction? What is that and why is that? So the first C is condition. Condition is like location in real estate. If it has phenomenal condition, it's going to have more interest than an average piece next to it. Just this morning on the way to the office, I stopped at a garage sale. So I was at a moving sale in my neighborhood. They had a beautiful chest of drawers, very standard 1940s mahogany, like a 5-drawer chest. It had already sold, but it was in pristine condition. And I know that at the auction, if I'd have bought it and brought it to the auction, people would have wanted it because it was in so clean condition. Conversely, we sell a lot of smalls here, and this is a piece of rookwood pottery. It's a standard glazed piece, artist signed. I'm not even sure the artist is. 1906 is the date. Good piece of pottery, except that it's been repaired and has a crack. So what was once a $200 thing, $250, maybe $300 vase, is now selling in our current auction with 4 or 5 other pieces of pottery, and the lot will bring $30 or $40. And there's another piece of rookwood like this in that lot. Same thing holds true for Yadro. We have this big, nice little Yadro collection in the auction right now. This really big piece. It's it's a millennium piece. Big. I mean, it's like 18, 16 inches tall. These would generally sell. She would usually bring a couple $100. But again, she has broken fingers on both hands. There's damage to her stars. So again, she is selling in a group of Yadros, and they're going to bring nominal value because of the condition. So condition plays a role in negativity. But what about the positive side? So we're talking about a couple of things that are damaged. I mentioned a piece that we can't see, and I'm going to mention a couple of others now. Yesterday, we get emails from Heritage Auction House down in Texas, and they're actually have an auction coming up with Nintendo games from the 80s and 90s. These are slabbed, so they're guaranteed to be authentic, and the condition is established by a third-party source. So they are slabbed, graded cartridges. And so I was curious as to what the value of these are, because we haven't delved into that market yet. Looking at eBay, which is a good resource, but it's not the best resource, but it's a really active marketplace. On Nintendo, Nintendo had a thing called Robotic Operated Control, ROB or something like that. Back in 1985, they had a game called Stack Up. One recently sold on eBay in factory sealed condition. It had never been opened. The package had never been opened, so it was essentially perfect, mint condition from the factory. It brought $4,500 plus. Another example of the exact same game on eBay, selling within a week or two of the first, that had been played. It did not have the case. If somebody had written in marker on it saying who it was originally, it brought $40, over 1,000 times the difference in value. Coins are another huge one. Graded coins will bring a huge premium over non-graded coins, depending upon the grade. Let's take the 1921 piece dollar, for example. One of the most common silver coins out there. We've had and sold probably hundreds of them over the years. In average, in worn condition, they can bring $10, $15, $20. You can buy them regularly for $20 to $50 in reasonable condition. Circulated condition, you can tell exactly what they are. All the design is legible, the dates are legible. But if you happen to have one in MS67, and MS is the scale grading system, 70 is considered perfect. MS67 is the highest grade that PCGS, a great coin grading service, has. And they estimate the value of those at $150,000 in the MS67 grade. If one came up as an MS68, it would probably be north of $1 million. And then it goes up exponentially in value depending upon the number at that point. And so condition is such an important, crucial part of value. The better the condition, the more interest it's going to have. Like I said before when we first started, condition is like location in real estate. Great condition will trump everything else. It'll make an average piece interesting. It'll make a great piece exceptional. It'll make an exceptional piece fantastic. And so you want to look for condition, whether you're buying or selling. And even if you're buying as a collector, you want to keep that in the back of your mind. If you're buying things that are damaged, you want to keep that in mind that you might get a deal on it today, but when you or your heirs going to sell it, it may not be such a deal. Take one more piece on that. We have sold several paintings this year by Arthur Kraft, and this is in our current auction. It looks like a pretty standard work of his, and we didn't even notice this in the pictures until we were taking the pictures. Our client sent these pictures to us. There's a pretty good sized hole and flaking right here. It doesn't really show up there, but it definitely is there. We have sold several Arthur Crafts this year, mostly in the hundreds of dollars range. We have sold two for over $2,000, including one for almost $6,000. If that one didn't have the damage, it would bring probably $500 to $1,000. That's kind of a cool, ethereal, ghostly look to it. People would really kind of like it. As it is, it's going to struggle to reach $50 or $60 is my guess because of the damage. It can be restored, but again, that's expensive, and you're not really 100% sure what that's going to look like when it's all said and done. So I think we talked about condition. If you guys watch and have questions or comments or concerns, go ahead and post them here. We'll get to answer those as I see them. Share this with your friends if you think they could be interested in some of these tips as well. The second C is collection, or where did it come from, the source of the object. We've sold several artists' estate this year. We've sold a couple of big collections this year. And so people understood exactly where the object was coming from. In artwork, that is so crucial. There are some pretty staggering numbers out there in discussion about forgeries and fakes and things along those lines. So knowing where the object came from will oftentimes enhance value in the marketplace. We're seeing that right now. We are selling, Leslie Brooks is a longtime friend of mine. I've known her for, 25 years. I've been in this business. Her and her husband used to buy from me, and she's collected Native American jewelry, and this is a piece of hers that we're selling right now. And people in the area especially know who Leslie Brooks is. And so they're excited to have the opportunity to buy pieces that were once hers. And the condition of her work is great. And she has a really discerning eye. She bought with a collector's eye. She also bought with a dealer's eye because she's a dealer and a collector. And so her condition on these is really good. And then the quality she was looking for was good. And so people know that if it's from the Leslie Brooks estate collection, it's going to have a better, they can feel more comfortable about buying it because of where it came from. Conversely, if you have pieces coming from a source that is known to have suspicious objects or fraudulent pieces, everything that person has is going to have less importance, less impact in the collecting world, because there's always going to be that shadow of doubt, the concern surrounding the objects, if there is any concern from the original source. So the condition, of course, is important. The collection of the source that it came from is important. What's our third C? The third C is it a compelling piece? And what makes a piece compelling? Well, back to the Nintendo games, they're compelling because that's early first generation of pretty much home indoor use. Nintendo is their early games for them is important in the video game collecting arena. Outside of that, what makes something compelling? Well, it could be a first of. It could be, as the camera has changed over the years, the first of a new style often has more desire than the following up, the adjustments. Camera 1.0 is better than camera 1.1 or 1.2 to use generic terms. Let's take this piece right here that's coming up in a couple of months. Looks like a kind of a generic chafing dish. We've all seen these in houses, at church dinners, at weddings, at receptions. It's, a pretty standard chafing dish. It is Art Deco, so that's kind of good, kind of Art Deco arts and crafts style to it. But other than that, it doesn't have a whole lot of zing to it. Why is it something we decided we would take in? And it goes down to the burner, and I'll show you that in just a second. Let me set this down. So what we think is compelling about this specific chafing dish is the burner. And why? Because it's a mechanical burner. So when you turn the handle, the burner opens up. And then when you're ready to extinguish the flame, because you don't need the heat for your pan anymore, you close it up and it will extinguish the flame. It's dated 1904. It's called the Rochester. And so we think this will have more value than more other things. And if it doesn't even have a lot of value, it's going to have more interest to somebody who looks for something that's just a little bit more unique than normal. A chafing dish from the 20s or 30s, $30, $40, $50. We think this one's $100 to $200. Again, not huge money, but more interest. It's more compelling. People will talk about it. Whoever buys that will be excited to have it, as opposed to just another object. So condition is important. The collection or the source that it came from is important. Is it a compelling piece? Is there something about it historically that makes it important? So those are the 3 C's. And what's the 4C? Well, the 4C is competition and competitive bidding. And so it's kind of like we have the 3 equal competitive bidding. Hey, Carl, Nancy, Stacy, thanks for watching. If you guys have questions, let me know. So we have condition, which is like location in real estate. We have the collection or the source where it came from. We have, is it a compelling, interesting, or important piece? Which leads us to, if you have 2 or 3 of those, odds are you're going to have competitive bidding, which is the 4th C. So condition, collection, compellingness will lead to competitive bidding. And that's what we're all looking for as a seller, as of the auction company, or as a consignor. You want to have competitive bidding in anything you offer. And those are the things that you can look for to get to that point. If your item is going to be, if it's in great condition, if it's from a great collection, if it's a compelling piece, odds are you're going to have really competitive bidding, and it's going to do well in the marketplace. If it doesn't have great condition, the bidding's going to drop. If it's not from a good source, the bidding might fall off. If it's not a compelling piece, the bidding might fall off. And so those are the things that we're always looking for. And when clients and potential clients talk to us, that's what we're going to mention to them are, what's the condition is our first and foremost question. Where did it come from? Is our second question. And then what is the item itself? Is there something about it that makes it intriguing? To go to a jewelry conversation, a ring made out of 18 karat gold, diamonds, and rubies is going to be more compelling than a sterling silver ring made with rhinestones and garnets. And so there's the compelling nature of what the object is, and that compelling nature can be from 100 different sources. So thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions, post them here. Send us a direct message. You can always give us a phone call at 816-283-3633. Drop us an email at info@kcauctioncompany.com. Drop us a private message here. If you have a chance, check out our other videos, both on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. We do Behind the Gavel with Jason every week. We've also done some special Behind the Gavels with Jason. Joel Nichols came in. We talked about several different things, including a 2018 year in review that was really interesting, and a couple of other things as far as selling big collections and topics like that. So if you have questions you have that you want us to address, let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you next Friday on Behind the Gavel with Jason, and have a great afternoon.